No parking this side the first 15 days of the month. The enforcer is asking for the license from that driver. Oh my God, he just hit the MMDA. I shouldn't say God, but I should have said gosh, I'm sorry. Just took me by surprise because he just bumped into the MMDA motorcycle. Allegedly, the guy that was driving it doesn't have a license.
Sino yung nagmamaneho? Ikaw? Ikaw yung nakabangga?
Hindi naman nabangga na dumikit
Ano
lang
po yan, sir, ha? Government property po yan.
Apa.
Hindi po namin personal yan.
Apa. Wala naman pag tama,
Malaki-laking asunto po yan. Pag
dumikit lang po yung yung
Tsaka bakit kayo
bumper.
dito gumagawa? Kaninong talyer to?
Wala po, maliit lang po to.
Hindi bawal sa kalsada yan.
Sige po, iaano na, iaayos.
Ha?
Iaayos na
Dapat
lang
may
po
talyer
namin.
kayo sa loob, hindi po dito. Ito, itutono namin to. Aasuntuin po namin kayo.
If your property is built on an easement, you wouldn't expect to see a car like this, but now it all makes sense. They turn the sidewalk into their shop and then the road into their repair area. And honestly, the guy doesn't seem to care that he just got caught driving allegedly without license and crashing into an MMDA motorcycle. I saw him chuckling as if it's nothing. I can't believe this guy just going to another car driving. He does not have a license. He just hit an MMDA motorcycle and then he's driving another car.
Wala ka ng lisensya.
So this went from illegal parking to driving without license to potentially damage to government property. I just can't believe the guy then jumped inside a different car and tried to drive that away also. That's always the risk when you take your car somewhere like this to get repaired. You know they're relying on the sidewalk, they're relying on the road, and a lot of the time they do things like this and, well, your car is going to end up in Tumana. In fact, that reminds me, someone messaged me recently and said, oh, I saw my car in your video in Barangay Tatalon being ticketed. And then he asked me, was it impounded? So I checked and yeah, it was impounded. He said his mechanic took it to Barangay Tatalon to be repaired to one of the repair shops. And when they went to pick it up, they said, oh, it's in our warehouse. And actually, it was sitting in Tumana impound. So be very careful where you take your car. What did I say about motorcycles without mirrors, right? I don't know why it's like that. Anyway, it's already on the tow truck. Good morning, everyone. MMDA back on the road. Right now, they're issuing tickets to illegally parked vehicles. Everyone's running out, of course, to move their vehicles because they want to avoid being ticketed or towed, but they will still ask for the license. Some people might argue this, but a lot of the time, when we see motorcycles without side mirrors, the driver also can't show a license. But let's see, maybe the driver will show up and show a license for this motorcycle parked here. And of course, there's no plate on the back either, so they have to use the engine number, chassis number, whatever they can find to put on their ticket. And I guess I've lost count the number of times they've seen this pickup truck parked here. There is a big sign in the background that says no parking along Mabuhay Lane. It's the same thing with the MCs over here, regularly apprehended by enforcers. Many of the Jeeps are starting to roll out now. They do use this as their garage. You might remember that they spoke to a few of the jeepney operators in this area and they all said the same thing. We do not have a garage. We have 3 units, 4 units, 2 units, and all of them said the same thing, no garage. Are they push starting this or does it just not work? Thing is, that'll probably just be back here later, right? Don't block the driveway, and then there's a tricycle parked right there. It's possible they have permission, but, well, every day I hear people say, people keep parking in front of my driveway and I can't get my vehicle out. It is a requirement under LTFRB. All jeepney operators have their own garage, their own off-street parking. But this is the reality, right? There's another illegally parked motorcycle that's going up on the tow truck now. I heard Bong speaking to this guy because he and his kids were forced in the road because the sidewalk became a parking area for this tricycle. Aside from the tricycle, there's a motorcycle just behind it. Also no plate. A lot of the vehicles around here really do not have plates. Over here you'll see this tow truck has a whole bunch of motorcycles loaded on the back. You'll see there's already a tow bar connected to that Jeep. Even the PWD ramp got conquered. I know it's going to sound repetitive, but what happened to the requirement of having off-street parking? I did just see the enforcer hand over a ticket though, so I guess that all of these Jeeps are being ticketed. Problem is you've got multiple Jeeps owned by the operators and they all say the same thing, they don't have a parking. The barangay will pass a one-side parking ordinance and say, this is for our residents. This is to decongest traffic. How can that be the case? Look, taxi, jeepney, tricycle, private car, jeepney, 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 right? Is that for the residents or is it for commercial vehicles that are being used for public transport that are required by their franchise to have off-street parking? And it's the same over here, right? Jeepney, tricycle, jeepney, 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 private car in the background, but you can see the statistics here. I remember they towed a car off this sidewalk the last time they were here, but I don't think it was that car. I think it was a different one. This guy asked the enforcer to speak to someone on his phone, and when the enforcer said no, the guy was like, oh, what's your name? Where did that lady end up because of the parked car? In the middle of the road, right? How many pedestrians, how many commuters will suffer for the convenience of one parked vehicle? The enforcer just wants to make sure they make note of this damage, because once it's towed, it's possible someone could complain later and say, you damaged it. So that's why they take a video before they take the car to the impound. After a short standoff, that pickup truck is going to Tomana in Marikina City. And in come the tow trucks now to pick up those Jeeps that have not left the area. And I know you might be wondering, how did the MMDA end up in this area? Well, twofold. They start with the Mabuhay lane, and secondly, there's complaints from residents. They keep complaining about PUJs littering up their streets, all the oil on the sidewalk, all the spare tires left around, all the noise from the drivers and everything like that. So many complaints. There's another taxi that's been picked up. I did see a lady come out, but I guess it must have been too late.